Hello and welcome to The Magic in You, where I'm here with Raven Digitalis, award-winning author, best known for his Empath trilogy, which is the Empaths Oracle, Esoteric Empathy, and also the Everyday Empath. Also known for his Shadow trilogy, which is a Goth Witch's Oracle, which is Shadow Magic Compendium, and also Goth Craft. Originally trained in Georgian witchcraft, Raven has been an earth-based practitioner since 1999, a priest since 2003, a Freemason since 2012, and an empath all his life. He also holds a degree in cultural anthropology from the University of Montana, cooperated a non-profit pagan temple for the last 16 years, and is also a professional tarot reader, editor, and animal rights advocate. I really can't speak this morning, Raven. I'm really sorry, and I do apologize, but welcome
you're
to The Magic in You. Thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule.
Yes, thanks for having me here. It's always a pleasure to come on and talk about life and talk about works and magic. It's all about magic.
Yes, it's all about magic, and this time the focus is on you because you've had a
Uh,
very interesting, very
well,
interesting life, and
yeah,
um, and sometimes people don't like talking about themselves, but I thought in this day and age it would sort of be a good idea for, I know, some of the people coming through to find out what it was like back in the day. A lot of us were getting into magic before the internet, before this wealth of information around us. So can we start off with first you describing your current path and what you do, and then also how you got involved in your own magical journey?
well, excuse me. My current path is solitary. So, like you said, I co-operated a pagan temple, multicultural pagan temple with a lot of Hindu elements as well for 16 years. And um, that dissolved a few years ago. And now I'm just doing solitary practice. So, in terms of magic and witchcraft, I tend to follow the lunar cycles more than anything. And that was something that I learned in Hawaii when I lived there. I'm in Montana now, but I lived in Hawaii for a few years to kind of reset and recalibrate. I'm from here, from Montana, and I'm looking at the Pacific Northwest to relocate in the not too distant future. It's very comfortable there. I'm not a big fan of ice. Like, there's a lot of ice here. Um, but it's a lovely place, yeah. But so I was born and raised here in Missoula, Montana, and got started on my path in witchcraft by being introduced to the craft by friends in high school, and I had the pleasure of being trained by Zanoni Silverknife originally in Georgian Wicca or Georgian witchcraft. And she was the founding priestess, and she passed away a couple years ago and massively influenced my life, and couldn't be more grateful. And then from there, I branched out into different systems, traditions, everything from esoteric Kabbalah to Hindu Tantra to all sorts of different things, because the world is just incredible. We have so much to learn. We're just perpetual students. It's beautiful. And so I think we can approach eclectic practice and eclecticism respectfully if we honor the cultures, the deities, the fastings, if you do that, depending on what you're honoring. What an amazing time to be alive when the world's information is literally at our fingertips, and we can communicate with people in all these different cultures and areas, and it's just incredible. So at this point, I would say that my practice is a blend of witchcraft and Hinduism. So the main Hindu deities that I work with are Shiva, Shakti, and Ganapati, who are, Lord Shiva, and then Lady Durga, Devi, Shakti, the goddess, and then Ganapati is Ganesha. So those are the three that I work with primarily. And as for other deities, I work with Bastet every day. And me and my kitty cat, my familiar cat skills, he and I do gratitude prayers to Basht every day, and without fail. And it's really nice and sweet and fun. And of course, Hecate. Got to work with Hecate.
So I'm a bit curious because I have this sort of drawn to Hindu deities as well. And some people are sort of like questioning me as to why. What's this interest in Hindu deities? I like it because it's part of a living religion too. So it's almost like a living egregore as well. So you can sit there and do mantras to them. And I've found that the deities, if you approach them with their mantras, they don't care where you are and what belief system you have, if you do have any. Do you have the same sort of
Yep.
response from them, or is it something else?
No, I agree with you entirely. And just the the compassion and the care that come from Hindu deities, even Ma Kali, Kali Ma, she destroys demons. She's a destroyer of evil. They're all there to uplift us, and deities are egregores themselves. And we could theorize and philosophize all we want, but we know that they're very much real, and not demons in disguise. They're, as some might believe. But yeah, with the Hindu deities, especially, just the care and the presence is huge, especially because, like you say, it's such a long lasting tradition, with so many branches. It's incredible. One could be from India and study all the aspects of Hinduism for their whole life and still just brush the surface. It's so deep, so vast. And yeah, the deities are very approachable and caring. And that's where I have a Hindustani heart, and it sounds like you kind of do too.
I think I do. We have a little private ashram here in Adelaide, and it's one of the few sort of dedicated to Kali. So it's the tantric side, and I do know that the word tantra in the West has a completely different meaning to what it originally means. But it's this connection with Kali in particular, because I have this thing for dark deities. I don't know why. But I think a lot of it is to navigate through changes in life. And she sort of, I think and it can be for any deity or even our own higher self, when we get rid of our ego. And I think we need more and more in our Western world to learn humility. We're so head focused. When we hand ourselves over, and even if we're going through all these changes that we are, then we get this insight as to what's really important, what we should really be focusing our energy on. And Kali, to me, is a great way to do that.
Mm-hmm, sure. And a Hindu guru once told me that during a class, he was a guest, and one thing that really stuck with me is that he mentioned how social life and just work, the daily grind, family, just things like that can be seen like a horizontal line, and then our connection to higher power, to deity, to spirit, our sadhanas, our practice, our rituals, our reverence, that's like a vertical line. And so we need the two together in this beautiful balance. And that's why I'm a big advocate of daily practice. And it doesn't have to be much. I just encourage viewers and listeners to do any kind of positive daily practice. Like for me personally, currently, my daily practice is wake up, have coffee, obviously, and but it's always 2 cups, never more than 2 cups, and then take a shower, and then do yoga and meditation, and sometimes integrate calisthenic exercises, for to work up a sweat a little bit, and then do prayers with the deities, including those gratitude prayers that I mentioned. And it just sets me right for the day. So it gets the energy moving physically, metaphysically, and everything. And I just think daily practice is so important.
Oh no, I couldn't agree with you more. And it doesn't even have to be, though that's very simple. It doesn't have to even be as elaborate as that. I'm probably one of the last people in the world who still wash their dishes. I don't have a dishwasher. And there is, there was a Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, and he talked about meditation at the kitchen sink. And so when I do my dishes, and again, this is something like when I'm elsewhere and I'm doing dishes, like if I'm visiting my parents and they have a dishwasher, it is there's something about doing that sort of simple task of doing the dishes. And again, I suppose I'm lucky where I live because out my kitchen window, I have a bird bath, so I can watch the birds.
Wow.
But it's just like a meditation isn't always the Zen, close your eyes, stare at a wall. It can just be in the moment. And that helps us get out of our head back into our body, which is really important, especially for people like you who are very empathic. I'm sort of like learning how to work with your energy and boundary setting. And yeah, well, there's so much, should we say, negative, stressful energy in the
Mhm.
world these days.
Oh my gosh, especially in America where I'm at at the moment. Yeah, it's a little scary, but
Yeah.
so
Yes.
yeah, that's why we really need to be astute, be at our best, and be aware and protected, especially for
No.
those who are more empathetic. And of course, highly empathic people are drawn usually to mysticism and mystical traditions. So I'm sure a lot of folks watching can identify with that.
Mm.
So I brought my books here, and I wanted to share this one especially called Esoteric Empathy, a magical and metaphysical guide to emotional sensitivity. And this is the first empathy one that I wrote. It took 6 years off and on. So this is the first one of the Empath trilogy, or the Empath triptych. And then the second one is called the Everyday Empath. This one's not just for witches and pagans and occultists, whereas Esoteric Empathy is tailored for us, people like us. This is more for everyone, the Everyday Empath. And it got translated into Spanish and audiobook also, which is lovely. And then the final one of the trilogy is the Empaths Oracle deck. And these cards were a collaboration with my new friend, artist Konstantin Bax in Germany, and all of all of the artwork is acrylic. There's nothing digitally altered here, and they're just gorgeous, like um, psychedelic, abstract, deeply meaningful pieces of work. And what a pleasure just to get the vision to do that deck, and then him to be on board, boom, right away. It just I'm so thrilled with
Mm.
how it turned out.
No,
So that's
no,
my empathic contribution.
no, thank you. And it's lovely to see that you've got a book for everyday people as well, not just the magically inclined, but because this is something I think, depending on what channels you listen to, both talking about sort of like spiritual downloads and we're all sort of like ascending or descending or whatever we're going. But a lot of us are finding that we're more sensitive, our awareness is more heightened. And for people who aren't trained or have sort of explored the magical avenues or who aren't interested in it, it's good to have an alternative where they can sort of,
Yeah.
especially learn from somebody who is an empathic, who has been there, done that, and
Mm.
basically is talking from a lived experience as well. And that's
And
something,
that's
sorry.
something. Sorry to interrupt. That just reminded me of something that Janet Ferrer said to me when I met her years ago, shortly before I became an author. So that would have been in like 2005 or six, and I was about to become an author because um, a mushroom vision journey on psilocybin gave me that message very strong. This is your path. I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to the higher medicine. And so Janet had said to me, just write about what you know. That's what you
Mm,
do. You write about what you know.
mm.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the key.
And especially for sort of these times that we're going through. And you did sort of touch a little bit on this, but I'm just wondering, how has your path, because it has sort of had various sort of like rivers and threads running through it, like my own path has various threads through it. How has that, especially for an empath, how's your path supported you? Like when we go through like dark nights of the soul, and you did mention that you went to Hawaii to sort of like recalibrate
Mhm.
yourself. Did you find that your path actually gave you that sort of support, or did you actually find out that maybe it was lacking in some area? Or did
Well,
it even change?
I really had to practice what I was preaching in my Shadow Magic trilogy, my Shadow trilogy, during my time in Hawaii. That was one big dark night of the soul, and that term is coined by was coined by Saint John of the Cross, a Christian mystic, and it is so wise. And just to have the awareness that that one's going through um, a period of darkness and isolation and questioning everything and all of the emotions and lack of emotion that fluctuates in that experience. It's very important to just be aware that that's happening and that it doesn't last forever. And so, after difficult experiences when I lived here in Montana prior, I went to Hawaii to reset, recalibrate, and it's super bright and sunny there and warm and gorgeous. It's also expensive. There's social issues, drugs, all these things. But I got into a pretty deep grief cycle, but somehow was able to co-create this at the same time when I was there. And that helped keep me going. And I was also continuing my work with folks with disabilities, which I did for 15 years until recently. And so the new friends and clients I met that way were very helpful. And the family that I was staying with. We all have our issues, but just to support each other is so important. And that those things helped me. And meeting my familiar cat skills during that time, that just helped get me through that dark tide. So if anyone is watching who's going through a dark tide, it will pass. Be your own advocate. Don't drink too much like I did. That was my default response. So I've struggled with some alcohol dependency. But it didn't help anything. So at the end of the day. So yeah, I should probably mention my Shadow series then. So my
Yes,
first book,
yes, I was just going to ask you about that, about your shadow suit, because it's the perfect lead way into it.
yeah,
So yes,
shameless self promotion. I'm a Leo. I could do it all day.
it's all about you, Raven, all about you. And,
Oh,
and I think
thanks.
all and I think also you also mentioned shadow work, and the shadow work is a term that's very popular these days. But your books, I think, and I'm going to do selfless plug, like my Dark Gods book, it takes you deeper, and then it takes you through, as opposed to just leaving you there. So yes, all about you. Show us your shadow
I
trilogy.
appreciate it. Well, yeah, Goth Craft was my first book in 2007. It's very pretty, got a lot of pictures and images, and um, I wouldn't write this book today. It's definitely dated, but it had its time and place. So yeah, Goth Craft was the first book, and then after that, I wrote Shadow Magic Compendium, which I actually it went out of print with Llewellyn, and it got picked up by Crossed Crow Books, who are my second of my third publishers. And Crossed Crow is in Chicago. Llewellyn's in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and area. But I got to do a 15th anniversary, revised, expanded, updated, so much better than the original, like 3 times better version. And this one's called The Witch's Shadow Magic Compendium. So this is my second favorite book I've written. Esoteric Empathy is my first favorite. And yeah, I'm just so happy with how it turned out. And so, like I said, this is part of a trilogy, a shadow trilogy. And the third part of it, just like with the Empaths Oracle deck, is the brand new Gothic Witches Oracle deck. And so this is with Crossed Crow in Chicago. There's their little logo. But wow, what a pleasure to create this deck with an artist that I've admired since I was 15 or 16. John Santraneros. So he's originally from New York, and he does photographic artwork. So when I was a teenage gothling, witchling, I was doing my own black and white photography as artistic creativity expression. And so I contacted John because I had seen his photographic artwork on the cover of different records, like the band Attrition. He's had quite a few of his pieces on their album covers. And so I contacted him, and this was still in the early days of email, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I was like, can you give me any advice on how to create certain imagery in my photos and inspiration? And he gave me some really good advice. And then I didn't ever think that I would write about goth culture stuff again, ever, after my first book. But the message came loud and clear, just like with the Empaths Oracle, saying, here's a bunch of cards you need to write and co-create and get an artist. And so I contacted John, and he remembered me. And he said that, what such an honor. He said that he's been approached dozens of times to do co-create tarot or oracle decks, and it never felt right until this one. And it's, yeah, such an honor. And he's just a wonderful person. And it's, like I said, it's all photographic artwork. It's very spooky. It's not for kids. It's adults only. And there's nudity. The publisher decided to free the nipple, so that's lovely. And there's a guidebook that comes with it too that I wrote in both of those decks, and that just came out. I'm so happy with it, and all of my publishers are wonderful to work with. Yeah.
So are you able to give us a sneak peek of some of the cards? Because I know myself, when I go for an oracle deck, all you can see is the cards on the back, and sometimes I resonate with those cards, and I get the deck open, and it's just like, oh, those are the only cards that I resonate with. But are you able to show us just a few cards to sort of like tempt us?
Yeah. Well, some of the cards are like this, where they're still pieces. What do you call that? Like still life. And then others have models. Like, I'm trying to get it in the camera here. There's a couple examples. Let's see. I'm looking for ones that I can show on YouTube. Here are a couple with models. Let me hold them properly here. Really pretty. This is one of my favorites. I love this image as well. Shattering the mental prison.
So powerful. So powerful.
This I like this one too. Nurturing the inner child. Very spooky. Very spooky. Can't show that one. Can't show that one. There are a couple male models too. This one's examining sex and gender identity. So all the cards are pertinent to people drawn to Gothic culture and witchcraft simultaneously, because there is a crossover, undeniably. I like this one too, modifying the body. But so in a way, it's an extension of my Goth Craft book. It's like a better version and like a more condensed version. But I've gotten really good feedback about the cards so far. And, they're not for everyone. They're very niche. And that's okay.
But it's also, like, I know when I'm looking for oracle cards, I'm sort of over to the love and light brigade, because if I'm reading for other people, it's just like sometimes things aren't all love and light, and sometimes you need to go within and do that sort of hard work. So to find a deck that's balanced, but also sort of like draws you in, and also, I suppose, say forces you, but should we say encourages you very strongly to say, hey, stop projecting externally. You need to look at yourself. And we are in a very sort of hedonistic society where it's so easy to blame everybody else, but we need to look at our responsibility, our path as well.
Yeah, that's a huge theme of the deck, is the encouragement toward self-reflection, introspection. How can we change our world in order to change the world? So, with everything that I write, the whole purpose is to help people on their path, and to just help make the world a better place in some small way, hopefully a large way. The royalties that come are great. They don't pay all the bills, but that's a great side effect. Um, I just love knowing that my work can help people get out of those dark tides, become more confident as witches, as empaths, as people who are different from the norm. I think it's such a blessing to be different from the norm, and things like books are, supportive, and it's like, hey, you're not that weird, and you're not alone.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing to know, that yeah, you're not alone, that there are other, I call them normal people, just like you would be out there as well. And but talking about books, you mentioned you've had two publishers, you've got a new publisher, another
Yeah.
publisher, and you've got another book that's just come out or is about to, as we are doing this recording, on the verge of coming out. It's a little bit different because it's fiction. And
Hmm.
can you just sort of share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'm super excited about the new fiction anthology, and of course I brought that here too to show off. So, first ever fiction, it's called Black Magick, 13 Tales of Darkness, Horror, and the Occult. And it just turned out so lovely. And I know some people are freaked out by the cover and the title, but that's okay. A lot of the stories are about why black magic, for lack of better terms, it's kind of tongue in cheek, why it's not a good idea to do. It's like, so some of the stories have those elements. Most of the stories have pagan and occult elements naturally, and others are more covert. So this idea originally came to me in 2008. So it's been 17 years, and finally, after being rejected by a number of U.S. publishers, the awesome Moon Books in London picked up the project, and I'm the editor. There's 13 tales in here. They're all so diverse, and just I can't believe that this project finally got published after collecting virtual dust for all those years. And shortly before I moved back to the mainland from Hawaii, I was inspired in a dream to revive the project, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then so I contacted the other contributors. I pitched it around, and Moon Books accepted it. And so I feel so fancy having a British publisher and three publishers. It's really special, and everyone's just so wonderful to work with. And I just can't believe that this is printed and that I'm holding it in my hot little hands right now. I just got it last week, and it always surprises me that how a document of, this is 90,000 words, how it gets compressed down to this nice little form. Like, I was worried it would be a big tome, but no, it's just perfect. And I've been getting really good feedback and reviews about that. So if listeners want to dive into occult horror fiction, please let me know what you think.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. And congratulations on both a wonderful Oracle deck, the Gothic one, and also this new book. I know, I'm just going to put another, when I put out my own anthology, I had people complaining about the cover being too dark, but that was the
It's
whole point of it.
it's
It's a bit,
sexy. It's super sexy.
I'll let Chatling Magpie know, because that was actually his artwork. And I just was drawn to it because to me, it was like there's the model is holding up the skull, and it's
Mhm.
looking at sort of the mask that we wear. And we also got a little bit of a sort of differing opinions as to the cover of My Dark Goddess, but this is
Love
how.
it.
And then people saying, is that me? I'm going, well, I hope not. Maybe me on a bad day without my coffee. But we
Right.
need to, but as I said, we need to be sort of like challenged a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that sort of also the curiosity will draw the people in to
Yeah.
these works
Yeah.
as
Good
well.
point. Hmm.
It's all, at the end of the day, it's all about balance, coming back to that middle path between the light and the dark. And we've got so
Hmm.
much light out there at the
Oh,
moment.
I agree. I've always said I walk the middle path.
Mm, mm.
I think that's the healthiest place.
That's wonderful, Raven. And with those two projects, on the verge, or being released, on the verge of being released, about to come into the world. Do you have anything else in the back burner? What's your next project that you're working on, if you're taking a break?
So I actually have two addendums to the. I have one addendum coming out to the Empath trilogy, and one addendum coming out to the Shadow trilogy. Um, so the one that I have announced already is also with Moon Books. It's part of their Pagan Portals series. It's called Magick for Empaths. So it's a mini book, just 25,000 words or so. So it's like a, like I said, an addendum, like a little guidebook to go along with the series. And I have a book that I haven't announced yet that's actually with Llewellyn. That's the addendum to the Shadow trilogy. And I'll just say it's about shadow work and it's about spellcraft, a lot of spellcraft. So I'm really excited. I just finished it a few days ago.
Wow, you're really busy.
Yeah.
And do you have anything else coming up, or if people want to get in touch with you? I mean, I'm just assuming, I probably shouldn't, that all your books and the cards and indexes will be available everywhere. People can ask
Mm-hmm.
for them, the regular bookstores and online. Also, what else do you offer? I mean, do you have room for anything else in your life? Because you seem to be extremely
Well,
busy.
I've prioritized at this point. I'm prioritizing writing and tarot reading. So I'm actually taking some classes with the Tarot Mysticism Academy. I've just begun those, and so this is my first continuing education since college, and I feel really confident about it. I've been a professional tarot reader for I think 16 years, and I just want to improve that, and then also to improve my marketing skills because I suck at that and getting myself out there. Doing talks like this is totally out of my comfort zone, but I make myself do it, and especially I encourage highly empathic, emotionally sensitive viewers to do little things to get out of their comfort zone so we don't hermit up too much. I did that for a couple of years, and this is part of coming out of my shell. But as I say that, there's this gorgeous hawk flying and circling, so I'll take that as a good sign. Yeah, we need community. We're social creatures, and where was I going with that? Oh yeah, tarot readings. Yeah, folks can contact me for tarot readings. I always offer a sliding scale for those. Ravendigitalis.com is my website. Raven like the bird, digitalis like the foxglove plant. And one thing that I've recently started offering that's super unique and successful, like it feels really good. I just got trained in Reiki 3, so I'm a Reiki master. Technically, I don't really like that term, but I'll roll with it. So what I offer is a tarot reading and then Reiki healing bundle combined, which can be remote or in person. And I think it's really successful. When I say successful, I mean helpful to the client to do a reading, assess life and where it's going and life, the universe and everything, and then invoke the cosmic healing light and encourage, when a healer does healing, it's actually the other person that's doing the healing. We're just helping facilitate their process. So I'm offering, tarot and Reiki separate or as a bundle. And I also offer spell kits, customized, tailored spell kits where I will write the spell for a person after having done a consultation. I'll mail them the spell as a scroll on parchment paper with all the ingredients as well. And so that's really fun. I love doing that. And it's gone over really well. So folks, can hit me up for customized spell kits wherever you live in the world, tarot readings, or if you want an autographed bookmark or something collectible, I'll just send it to you, no cost. So
no, that's fine. And excuse me. And all the links will be below this recording as well. And I do like the idea of a reading followed by Reiki or any sort of energetic healing, because I mean, we are energetic beings, and sometimes having your cards basically in your face saying you've got to do this work it can be very sort of energetic shifting, and you need to sort of integrate how to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure. Yeah.
wonderful.
Anchoring into a good trajectory, you know.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, Raven, unfortunately, we are running out of time,
Well,
but
it's been wonderful. Thank you.
I would like to thank you for sharing the magic in you, and also as an empath for coming out of your comfort zone. And can I assure you that I'm not as empathic as you are, but I'm finding stepping out of my comfort zone as well difficult, especially, the post-COVID sort of coming out and doing the sort of peopling again. Um, I'm just not going to go down that rabbit hole, but it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for showing us all your wonderful
Yeah.
creations and the backstory to them and how they can all benefit us in
I sure
the
appreciate it. And thanks
and
for all the wonderful interviews on your channel. I'm
oh,
just impressed, and I'm so grateful for people like you who get out there and help others link and connect and network and get to know each
good.
other and fine tune their path. It's really special work. So blessed be. Thank
Oh,
you.
blessed be. And thank you for that. I'm just, getting out of my comfort zone myself. So again, Raven, all the best. And for everybody who's watching this, please check out Raven's wonderful work, which will be in the links below this recording. Blessings.